The Complete Human Gymnasium. Your invitation to join you. You now know why we created the Complete Human Gymnasium. You understand the problem we are trying to solve. You have seen how the community of practice works. You have seen the deeper architecture behind the practices. And you understand how your journey can develop over time. Now let's make the decision simple. Who is this for? The Complete Human Gymnasium is for adults who want to keep developing themselves in a world that is changing very quickly. It is for you, if you want to, stay capable in the age of AI, develop your human competencies, improve your attention and coherence, practice with your body, not only with your mind, build better habits, learn continuously without taking another full-time course, have a rhythm that helps you keep practicing, connect with other people who are also developing themselves, and eventually, turn your knowledge, experience, and competencies into human assets. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need to be especially fit. You don't need to understand our complete methodology. You simply need to be willing to practice. Who is it not for? It may not be for you if you are looking for a program that does everything for you. If you want to watch videos without practicing, this is probably not the right environment. If you want someone available to coach you personally every day, the basic membership is not designed for that. If you want instant transformation, this is not what we promise. The Human Gym is based on a simple idea. We can create the environment. We can give you the tools. We can give you the rhythm. But you have to do the practice. The first step, registration. Your journey begins with a €100 registration. This is not simply a fee to create an account. It is your entry into the system. Your registration includes an orientation workshop. Depending on the format, this can be private or in a small group. During the orientation, we help you understand the system and answer your questions. You will learn how to use the smart applications. You will receive a guided demonstration of Coherence, Oracle Fractal Time audio lessons. You will also receive your first access to the survival kit. We will show you where to find the resources. We will explain the 4-day practice rhythm, and we will help you begin your first practice. The purpose is simple. You should know exactly what to do when you leave the orientation. Then comes the community membership. After registration, continued participation in the community of practice is €50 per month. This is intentionally simple. You don't have to choose between 10 different membership levels before you begin. You start with the foundation. Your monthly membership gives you access to the ongoing practice environment. It includes community practice, the 4-day rhythm and scheduled 20-minute practice opportunities. One technique at a time, a clear focus so that you know what to practice. Survival kit, your growing library of instructions, audio lessons and exercises. Smart applications, Coherence, Oracle and Fractal Time. Independent practice, the freedom to practice when your life allows it. Quicksilver pathway, a progressive foundation for developing the competencies of the complete human being. Community connection, a place to return, practice and stay connected to other practitioners. What are you really paying for? You are not paying €50 to receive a pile of videos. You are not paying €50 for a collection of information. You are not paying €50 for someone to tell you what to do every hour. You are paying for access to a practice environment and a rhythm. Think about a normal gym. You pay for membership. The gym provides the environment. The equipment is available. The opening hours exist. Other people are practicing. You can return again and again, but the gym cannot exercise for you. The same principle applies here. We provide the human gym. You do the training. Why is the membership so accessible? The normal value of personalized instruction can be much higher. If you work privately with a trainer, even a short session can represent significant value. But we don't want the basic community of practice to depend on private training. We want to create something that many people can access. The €50 membership allows the community to remain accessible while creating a sustainable environment for continuous practice. If you want more personal attention, there are other pathways, but you don't need to buy an expensive program simply to begin developing yourself. Start small, practice consistently. Go deeper when you are ready. What if you want more? You can always go deeper. If you want a specialized subject, you can join an additional workshop. If you want to understand your current abilities, you can request a competence assessment. If you want personal attention, you can book individual training. If you want an intensive period of development, you can enter an acceleration program. If you want long-term personalized guidance, you can enter a companion program. If you enjoy challenges, community interaction, and gamification, you can explore the gamified programs. And if you eventually want to help others use the methodology, there are pathways toward co-facilitator, licensee, and other advanced roles. But none of these are required. The community is enough to begin. Why not just download the exercises? You might ask, why can't I simply get the exercises and practice them myself? You can, and we actually encourage independent practice. But information alone is not the main value. The value comes from the sequence, the rhythm, the progression, the feedback, the community, the integration, and eventually the competence. You can find individual exercises almost anywhere. What is difficult to create is a system that helps you keep practicing them. The community of practice is that system. Why the 4-day rhythm matters. You may have experienced this before. You learn something. You are excited. You practice for a few days, then life becomes busy. You stop, a week passes, then a month. The knowledge remains somewhere in your head, but the habit disappears. The 4-day rhythm gives you an anchor. Every 4th day, there is another opportunity to return. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to keep returning. Rhythm creates continuity, and continuity creates development. Why the community matters. You can practice alone, but humans are social beings. Sometimes seeing another person practice changes your own experience. Sometimes a simple question from another participant makes you understand something differently. Sometimes you need someone to say, try it this way. Sometimes you simply need to know, other people are practicing too. That is why we call it a community of practice. Not a fan club, not a social media group, not an audience. People actually practice. Why this matters now? We are entering a very different period of human history. Artificial intelligence is becoming increasingly capable. It can generate text, images, music, code, ideas, analysis, plans, and many other things. More and more work can be outsourced. That creates an extraordinary opportunity. We can use machines to handle more of the repetitive work. We can use them to extend our abilities. We can use them to save time. But we also need to ask, what happens to the abilities we stop using? If we outsource everything, we may slowly stop exercising some of our own capacities. This is why human development is becoming more important, not less. AI should become your tool. We are not building the human gym because we are against artificial intelligence. Quite the opposite. We want people to become capable of using AI well. AI can help you. It can extend your thinking. It can help you explore ideas. It can automate repetitive tasks. It can give you information. It can support your work. But there is a difference between using a tool and depending on a tool for everything. The human gym is about maintaining and expanding the human capacities that allow you to use technology intelligently. AI can become your tool. It does not have to become your replacement. The cost of not practicing. There is another way to look at the €50. Don't only ask, what does it cost me to join? Ask, what does it cost me if I don't practice? What happens if your attention becomes more fragmented? What happens if you stop using your body consciously? What happens if your creativity becomes dependent on software? What happens if you lose confidence in your own judgment? What happens if you become increasingly dependent on external systems? What happens if you have knowledge but cannot turn it into capability? These costs are difficult to see because they accumulate slowly. There is no notification saying, your human capacity has decreased today. That's why deliberate practice matters. The opportunity cost of waiting. You don't need to wait until you have a problem. You don't need to wait until you feel disconnected. You don't need to wait until your work changes completely. You don't need to wait until AI becomes more powerful. You can begin now. The earlier you start developing your capacities, the more time those capacities have to compound. Human development is also a long-term investment. This is a founding moment. The Complete Human Gymnasium is being launched now. We are building the first community of practice. That makes this a special moment. The people who join early will not simply be customers. They will become part of the first generation of practitioners, experiencing and helping shape the system. We want the first community to remain human-sized. The initial network can grow toward a limited number of participants, rather than immediately becoming an anonymous mass platform. And because this is the beginning, we have a special gift for our first members. The exact founding offer is presented when you register. You don't need to decide everything today. This is important. You don't need to decide whether you will become a Quicksilver graduate. You don't need to decide whether you will enter acceleration. You don't need to decide whether you will become a facilitator. You don't even need to know exactly what you want to develop. You only need to decide, do I want to begin practicing? That's the first decision. The rest can emerge from experience. Imagine yourself 3 months from now. Imagine that you started today. You have learned several techniques. You have practiced your body. You have worked with your attention. You have experimented with breathing. You have used the smart applications. You have returned to the community several times. You have learned how to make a practice smaller when you are busy. You have learned how to return when you miss a few days. You have started to recognize patterns in yourself. And perhaps you notice something simple. You practice things now that you didn't practice before. That's development. Not because someone gave you a certificate, not because you watched 100 videos, but because you became capable of something new. Imagine yourself 1 year from now. Now imagine continuing. You have built a much larger repertoire. You have developed more confidence in your practice. You have completed more of the Quicksilver Foundation. You understand more about your own capacities. You know how to learn. You know how to practice. You know how to return when you lose your rhythm. You can use the practices independently, and perhaps you decide to go deeper. You join specialized workshops. You enter an acceleration journey. You work with a companion, or you decide to help others. The possibilities expand because your capabilities have expanded. The simple choice. You don't have to become a different person tomorrow. You don't have to change your entire lifestyle. You don't need to spend hours every day. Start with a small practice, return every 4th day. Keep improving. 1%. Then another 1%. Learn to recognize the signal. Reduce the noise. Develop your body. Develop your attention. Develop your creativity. Develop your capacity to collaborate. Develop your coherence. Build your repertoire. Turn your competencies into human assets. So, what is the Complete Human Gymnasium? It is a place where you practice being human. It gives you a rhythm, a community, a growing library of practices, smart tools, guidance, progression, and a foundation for developing the complete human being. You don't have to consume everything. You don't have to attend every session. You don't have to become an expert. You simply have to keep practicing. The invitation. If you feel that the world is changing faster than ever, if you feel that technology is becoming more powerful, if you want to make sure that you remain capable rather than simply becoming dependent, if you want to cultivate the parts of yourself that are worth developing, if you want a simple rhythm that fits into real life, if you want to practice with other people without giving up your freedom, then perhaps this is the right moment to begin. Register for the Complete Human Gymnasium. Your first step is the €100 registration and orientation. Then, if you decide to continue, the community membership is €50 per month. Start with one technique, practice it, return to the community, and see what happens. You don't have to know where the journey ends. You only need to begin. The future needs capable humans. Artificial intelligence will continue to develop. We don't know exactly what it will be capable of 5 years from now, but we do know something. Humans will still need to choose, care, create, connect, adapt, perceive, collaborate, lead, imagine, experience, and decide what is worth doing. The more technology can do for us, the more important it becomes to know what we want to do ourselves. So give yourself the time, give yourself the practice, give yourself the opportunity to develop. Cultivate your humanness, elevate your coherence, develop your competencies, turn them into human assets. Use artificial intelligence as a tool and keep developing the human being who uses it, from practice to development. You don't have to know how far you want to go. Maybe you simply want a regular practice. Maybe you want to complete your Quicksilver Foundation. Maybe you want to develop specific competencies. Maybe one day you will want an acceleration program, a companion journey, individual training, or even to become a facilitator. You don't need to decide that today. The community gives you a place to begin. You practice, you develop competence, you receive guidance, you progress when you're ready, and your next step becomes clearer through experience. That's the important difference between a content library and a community of practice. You are not simply consuming information. You are developing yourself. Start with the €100 registration and orientation. Then continue with €50 per month for the community of practice. Start at your level, progress at your rhythm, and let your own development determine how far you go. You don't have to know the destination. You only need to take the next step. Join the Complete Human Gymnasium. The choice is yours. You now know what the Complete Human Gymnasium is. You know why we created it. You know how it works. You know what you receive. And you know where it can take you. So now there is only one question. Will you make time to develop yourself? Because the world is not waiting. Artificial intelligence is advancing. More tasks are becoming automated. More capabilities can be outsourced. And that makes your human capacities increasingly important. Your attention, your perception, your creativity, your judgment, your ability to connect, your ability to adapt, your ability to create meaning, your ability to learn, your ability to remain coherent. These capacities are not valuable simply because you have them. They become valuable when you develop them and can use them. That's why the Human Gym exists. And you don't need to make a huge commitment to begin. Start with one practice, 20 minutes, 1%. Return every 4th day. Keep developing. Your first step is a €100 registration, including your orientation workshop, smart application introduction, and survival kit access. Then continued, community membership is €50 per month. This is your opportunity to begin building the foundation. Not someday, not when you have more time. Now, cultivate your humanness. Elevate your coherence. Develop your competencies. Turn them into human assets. The future may belong to those who can use the most powerful technologies, but it will be even more valuable to those who remain capable of deciding what those technologies should be used for. Join the Complete Human Gymnasium. Stay human.